Julian Alaphilippe goes down hard, and how Pogacar got away with 50 Ks to go. This is Strade Bianche 2022. The white gravel, one of the fan favourite races. Russell Crowe, I believe, used to live on this road in Roman times. And if you want to watch the 2023 edition this Saturday, men and women's, the best place to do so is GCN Plus. You can get 15% off an annual GCN Plus pass where the racing is live, ad-free and on demand. This offer available in selected territories through the link down below. But Strade Bianche, it has 11 gravel sectors, about 60 Ks of gravel, the famous punchy finish in Siena, where we've seen Van der Poel win. Alaphilippe was here in 2022, the world champ, after his big victory in Imola in Italy the year before. And when live coverage started, we saw on Sector 5, a little maze, a Maremma or a golden retriever in the background, I don't know. We saw carnage. And Sector 5, it doesn't always kick off, and I don't know if there was wind from the rider's right. We see Alaphilippe down, and this is what happened. The wind is coming from their right shoulder. The Alpecin rider in front of Fuglsang gets pushed into Alaphilippe. Benoit's behind him. Alaphilippe's already in the process of unclipping because he himself is going off the road. Whether he would have saved it, I'm not sure. He goes down really hard. Pogacar also knows he's about to go down over Tadej Benoit in front of him. But the question is, how badly do you go down? Alaphilippe went down really hard. His bike catapulted in the air. Pogacar's already getting back up, quickly getting there with, I think, the FDJ rider. Stybar made it through unscathed. So this crash on Sector 5, where, as I said, it doesn't always kick off, defined this race. And Alaphilippe and Quickstep were on the back foot and making mistakes too, not adapting to the race from this moment onwards. And they're having to chase. We don't know how far back Alaphilippe is. He's got two teammates, I think one of which is Ballerini and Schmid. But Seri's pulling the front group with Stybar, former winner in 2015, in this group. Pogacar's looking around like, well, I got no teammates in the group, but if Quickstep, you're happy to pull me with no Alaphilippe in the group, then be my guest. Eventually, Stybar's talking to the radio, and Seri does get off the front, but that just pulled out the gap a little bit more than it needs it to be. Neyland's the Latvian pulling for Fuglsang, and groups come back now. Trek pulling for Quinn Simmons. Alaphilippe, we get a time gap of 2:22 to the breakaway and nearly 2 minutes to this GC group. When they're on the Strada, they don't stop. They keep pushing. It's only when they get to this 10K flat section in between sectors 6 and 7, and 7 is where it normally really kicks off, sectors 7 and 8 in the race, that Alaphilippe's able to come back because no one really takes control. But how much has he spent thanking his teammates for bringing him back before the big pivotal moments in this race? The Monte Santa Maria 1K 10% kick in Sector 8. How much will he have spent? Can he recover in time? And we see the lead-outs into Sector 7 beginning. The breakaway is already on. It's on the left-hand turn here. The road narrows. It's flat for a bit with Edward turns off the back, but it does kick off. There's two little climbs in Sector 7. And sometimes teams will attack. In 2021, Quickstep were aggressive with, I think, Asgreen and other riders. But it's Lotto Soudal who really tried to make the race as hard as possible. Maxim Van Hils, I think it has got a gap, and Wellens should have let him go, but he's like, I'll close that for you, Julian, no problem. They paced really hard throughout these sectors, and Asgreen as well. And this is what's curious. Alaphilippe must have felt good, or he didn't communicate, because he puts their second best option, Asgreen, on the front of a huge group just pulling in Sector 7. There's not splitting it apart. The breakaway, they don't need to be worried about. It's only 30 seconds out of the peloton. That's what's curious. Eventually he stops. He's on the radio again with, I think, Stybar coming back through. And the breakaway gets 30 seconds given to it at the end of Sector 7, where Oliveira to the front. They're going to turn right onto the tarmac. So there weren't really any flyers here. You know who we haven't seen, by the way, at all? Tadej Pogacar, as they fine the segmento. That's Italian for you. Thanks for coming. And now we have Sector 8, possibly the hardest sector in the race. Who is going to launch it? And once again, Alaphilippe either felt good or was overconfident or was bluffing. Again, Wellens and Lotto Soudal trying to make the race as hard as possible. You'd think maybe Wellens would be in follow mode, trying to adapt to what Pogacar or Alaphilippe would do. But no, they launch it, and it's not hard enough for Alaphilippe, who goes. Pogacar's in the middle of the group. Simon Clark is the next best to follow Wellens. He's on a minimum contract, I think, at this point in the season. This is before he won the Roubaix stage in the Tour de France, because Israel picked him up like less than a month before this race, I think, when the Mallorcan races. Pogacar, you see middle of the group on the left-hand side of Valverde, just behind Asgreen, and it's actually Carlos Rodriguez, the Andalusian, who's there for Ineos, but they're lacking. Carapaz was struggling in this race. He couldn't really react to things. Turner was there, and Wellens is pushing on the descent with Jan Tratnik in the wheel. We'll see all these riders now on new teams. Wellens on UAE. How will he fare with no Pogacar at Strade? Tratnik, who was good in Kerner and opening weekend, how will he fare on Jumbo-Visma? Alaphilippe goes, and now Pogacar's moving. He's come out of the group. This is Sector 8, 50 Ks to go. This is where the race does really split in 2021, I think. Wout van Aert pushed really hard here and brought that crazy group of Van der Poel and Pidcock, and Pogacar launches his first strike, looking like he's playing a different game to everybody else. It's only Alaphilippe who can really respond to his wheel out of the saddle whilst Pogacar's in the saddle, and his timing was impeccable. Sees his court, stops, and he's going to wait for another moment. Whereas contrast that with Quick-Step, who were pushing a lot with riders in their wheel on the front, or Lotto Soudal pushing with riders in their wheel. And you see on these steep descents, really sketchy descents, Simon Clark, great bike handler, gaps open, we've got this little roller into another descent, and this is the moment. Pogacar uses that momentum of that little uphill, keeps the foot on the gas, and goes in front of Simon Clark, who's tired, who's already had to close, and gets a gap on this descent, goes full gas, and he's going to be going into another little uphill section after this. So if he knows, if I get Alaphilippe off the wheel, and it's all mano-a-mano on a steep pinch coming up, I can really put these guys under pressure, and they're not going to want to close to me, the Tour de France defending champion, the Lombardia winner at this moment, with other riders in their wheel and with a gap to my wheel. And that's where here he rips this gap apart. Perhaps Alaphilippe thought he could bridge across to Pogacar on this uphill section. He certainly tries, but he's already spent his bullets in Sector 7, in chasing behind. Asgreen is someone who's more of an all-day engine. He can only follow at this moment. And you got to applaud Pogacar and his timing, his race nous, for knowing the parcours, knowing his strengths, and also having a sense of who has spent their bullets early and too much, Wellens and Alaphilippe, knowing they don't have teammates who can immediately react to him, attacking in the hardest moment of the race, because Strade is hard here, but then after Sector 8, there's actually an extended tarmac section and then 3 very short gravel sectors in the last, I think, 23 kilometers. Rodriguez is a better descender than Pogacar on the road typically, but he had chain trouble. He gets caught in the middle, and Ineos they have Narvaez behind, I think, but they don't organise a chase. They don't help, for example, Alaphilippe pull because they have Rodriguez in the Chasse Patate. So Alaphilippe's now pulling. And this is what's curious with the communication. Quick-Step now flip to Asgreen being the leader, with Alaphilippe pulling as a domestique because he doesn't have it, or has decided he doesn't have it. But they're about a minute behind Tadej Pogacar at this moment. It's too late. And with Ineos not helping, with Trek tired, with not many teams having multiple riders, and Pogacar on this extended tarmac section here, already having generated the gap, it's all over for Quick-Step being able to win this race. Asgreen does his best. I did feel sorry for him in this finish. I do wonder what could have happened if they played it differently. I still think Pogacar wins pretty comfortably based on his punch, his overall engine in this race. They're not going to match him on that Siena finish, I don't think, even if it would come down to that. And he wasn't letting it come to chance, and that's why he wins so many races, because if it's 50 Ks out, if it's an hour and a half out, if it's 2 hours out, if it's the second last mountain, if it's the right moment to attack, he will attack and go solo and back himself to take it all the way to the finish and let Group 2 syndrome take over, because Valverde completely sabotaged this group, refused to pull with Wellens, Narvaez, Simmons, and Asgreen, and which is like, you know, you want to not over-pull like maybe Van Aert did in 2021, but also it was just clear he was riding for the podium position from the get-go with Pogacar up the road, because when it is just him and Asgreen and he's got the other riders off the back and they're going for spots 2 and 3, he does start to pull a bit with Asgreen before Siena, but it's all the Pogacar show. Will we see a solo winner this weekend. Pogacar will be at Paris-Nice, but we've got Alaphilippe, Van der Poel, Pidcock, Jumbo-Visma looking scary strong. And my question for you is, if Pogacar can do this here, we know he could win Tour of Flanders. Could this man win Paris-Roubaix if he set his mind to it? I know it's not the same race. I know this has hills, but if there's one man that can do it all, it is Tadej Pogacar. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Go check out the GCN Plus annual deal in selected territories down below. And we'll see you at the Strade Bianche recap on the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast this weekend. Until then, ciao.